We get a 1, personal space, 2, personal space, 3.
Hey, hello listeners. This is just a quick disclaimer for this week's episode. As anyone that's listened to the show before knows, there can be some adult language, and anyone that's listening for the first time, please keep that in mind. We tend to be ourselves and not filter, so occasionally a bad word might come out. If you have any children in the room, please put on some headphones or have them put on some headphones. Thank you.
That I don't even care about this. I'm not even interested in having this skin on my personal space.
You're listening to the IDP Guys with Sean, John, and Nathan, the Wizards of Fantasy Football. Your go-to source for the individual defensive player strategy. And now, 3 guys who could only make an NFL team on Madden.
All right, welcome back to the IDP Guys. My name is Nathan, and I'm joined today with my co-hosts, Johnny.
Hey, how is everyone?
Great, and Sean.
I'm doing fine.
Apparently there's a little lag today.
I guess.
Yeah. So with that, before we kick into the show, this is episode 111. I just want to remind everyone that we have a draft guide coming out imminently. I'm working diligently on getting it all together. All the profiles are done. We're doing some quick mock draft information and finishing up the rankings for the magazine, but you can go to idpguys.org or dynastyfootballdigest.com, pre-order either an offense or an IDP magazine, or get both of them, and you can get that at digital or print. For those of you that get it in print, because we know that your rookie drafts are happening like as soon as possible now, you will receive a digital version as well, so that you have the information in front of you as we get it all printed and sent out. Also, go to our YouTube channel, Writer Digest Network. We just did a awesome live stream of the first round. Had a bunch of great guys on. Sean was involved. Johnny was involved. Big Three. Adam was involved. We had IDP Nation. We kind of partnered with them, Dan and Hollywood there. So if you want instant reactions on the first round players that went, and then we did Dan did a day 2 also on the network that you can see what the second and third round reactions were. Sean, John, what did you think of that first stream?
I thought it was, I thought it was interesting that Sean's brother is him, but younger, right?
Yeah.
Younger, yeah, just the exact same person, basically. Super opinionated, and Sean just younger.
Yeah. Well, and as it turns out, we have like almost all the same opinions because we just talk football all the time until one of us beats the other one into submission.
Oh my God.
I couldn't imagine that. Jesus. I feel bad for anyone that starts a debate / argument with Sean anywhere. Whenever that happens, I just sit back and enjoy.
Sean's ready to drop 9 rounds on someone with, over the
anything.
Simplest thing. I can imagine you and your brother going, round for round for.
Dude, you should have seen his poor fucking girlfriend, because when we were there, like at the house together, and when we were putting together this whole top 250 big board, like first of all we have to watch all these players, so we're watching them together. So we're basically like starting the film and going like 3, 2, 1, go, and then hitting play at the same time, and we're like talking through it as we're going. And then after that comes the whole like discussing like where we want to grade these guys, like what we want to write about these guys, all that. And so it was like a good like 4 or 5 days straight of like me sitting there with a laptop and then like cell phone on speakerphone, and like for me that's acceptable. I'm here on my own, like I can do whatever the fuck I want. His poor fucking girlfriend is over there having to listen to us talk football for about 12 hours a day for like 5 straight days. It's like, honey, like are you gonna like come get dinner? He's like, I'm busy right now, I'll get some later. It's like, okay.
Oh man.
So yeah,
Jesus.
the draft is over, and we can have our lives back now.
So you're pretty much living your best life in this quarantine, right?
Oh, dude, it's great. I fucking woke up. I got some food in the crock pot right now. It's my 3rd beer. Played video games all day. Did 2 loads of laundry. Did a little cleaning around the house. And now we're podcasting. And then I'll probably kick it, crack a bottle of wine, and watch a movie later. Be great.
I hear you. So are you 2 questions. Are you playing Final Fantasy VII yet?
I am not, because my buddy got me an Xbox One when this whole thing started, and so I've been replaying the Mass Effect trilogy. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through Mass Effect 2 right now, and I'm like right in the thick of things. And have you ever played that series?
I have not, no.
All right, you should definitely do that. It is like you won't be able to put it down. It's one of my all-time favorite series. So give it a shot.
Nice. Cool.
Yep, I've been going through all those. And have either of you guys watched the Michael Jordan thing yet?
I haven't yet.
I'm not a big basketball guy.
Meh.
No.
Yeah.
Like I get it, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right. Well, so we got a great show for everyone today. Because of quarantine, we're still in our own houses. So for audio quality, that kind of stuff, I apologize. But you can also watch us on the Writer Digest Network YouTube channel and see us, on video. So that's, I guess, one negative and then add in a positive. But we've got a great
How is that
interview.
positive?
Which one's
That you
the
can
negative?
see us.
Which one's the positive? I thought that was the negative.
Oh, seeing us is the negative and bad audio is the positive.
Yeah, I thought we might just like be both negative there, but yeah.
There you go. But great show today. We got Kyle B from Fake Pigskin coming on. But before we get into all of that and all the news, we got 2 questions for today. So let's grade our favorite team's draft. Johnny, why don't you kick it off?
Sure. A plus 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 plus. We got CD Lamb. There's no way he should have been there. I'll take it. Even though fantasy wise it devalues Gallup and Cooper, I could give a shit. The Cowboys got manna from heaven in the form of a guy that should not have been there, and we'll take it. And I'm pretty happy with Diggs in the 2nd round. And the other guys I know nothing about and could give a shit. So we'll see. But I'm happy.
Can you list them off the top of your head or no?
Fuck no.
Okay.
No idea.
I can tell you whether I like him or not, but no, Diggs is a great pick in the 2nd round. I thought.
Yeah.
I had Diggs in my top 32. Like it was. I knew he wasn't going to go in the top 32 probably, but just because like scheme specifics and stuff, and like when a guy is a little more limited scheme wise, they tend to fall just because there's a lower pool of teams that are willing to take him. But Diggs is great. You're gonna love him.
Yeah,
I was pretty happy. And Jerry killed it with the private yacht. Like Cliff Kingsbury had the very minimalist setup, and everyone was like, "Oh, look how rich he is." And then Jerry's like on a yacht. So fuck all you people. We got the best of everything.
Yeah, so the Cowboys got obviously Lamb and Diggs, and then Neville Gallimore, defensive lineman.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
Cool.
You got Reggie Robinson, the 2nd cornerback,
Yep.
Tulsa.
Good pick.
Tyler Biadasz.
Yeah.
Sure, Wisconsin.
These are all great so far.
Bradley Anaya.
Okay.
Yeah, Utah. Yep. And then their backup quarterback, Ben DiNucci.
Yeah. So aside from Ben DiNucci, all of those picks are stellar.
Yeah, I was happy. Thor Nystrom gave us a super high grade too, and I like him. I respect his opinion
Thor's
a lot.
great.
He does a lot of college like fantasy stuff too that is like really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
How was your
So,
guys' draft?
Yeah, Sean, you want to go into it?
Yeah. So I'm kind of torn between a B plus and an A minus here. So landing Akuda with the first pick was great. We didn't fuck it up. Like not fucking up that pick really was. We could have fucked up everything else and it would have been fine. You know, like the draft would have been fine just because we didn't fuck up that pick. DeAndre Swift in the second, great player, terrible pick. It just wasn't a primary need for us. I don't like running backs that early. I would, if you're sitting in the mid to late second round, I'm all for it if you have very few needs and if your offensive line is really good. You know, like if you can plug a guy in and know for sure that he's going to be successful and add value in the passing game, great. If you haven't really had success running the football, it's probably not the running back's fault. It's probably the offensive line or the running scheme. And then we just had so many other needs. So, like, to me, I hated that pick. I love the player. I hated the pick. But then we came back and got Julian Acquire in the third, and I had him as an early second. So, like, realistically, if I said it on our Slack channel, and then Mike Renner said the exact same thing to me. Basically, if you switch those two picks, like, we're all good. So, yeah, those two kind of made up for each other. And then beyond that, we landed two really good offensive linemen that I liked. Defensive tackle that doesn't really bring anything in pass rush, but late in the draft, I think it was like 5th or 6th round. You're not going to find pass rushers at that point in the draft unless something like Maurice Hurst happens. But so they added somebody that stuffs the run really well, and realistically, that's all the Lions want to do anyway. So that was a really nice fit. I didn't like the running back pick. I don't think he's terrible, but like I'm 90% certain they drafted him to be a kick returner, and I hate the Patriots' philosophy of drafting special teams players. You can sign undrafted free agents that can return kicks. Like you can grab so many different guys that return kicks, and especially with the rules now of kick returns, the reality is that like most people are not returning kicks anymore. They're just touchbacks every time. So I don't think that brings a ton of value. And then our choice of receiver was pretty atrocious in my opinion. I'm not a big Quintus Cephas guy. And it was getting close to the point where like that's the round I had him graded in, but there were just so many guys that were just better on the board. So I don't know. I liked a lot of our picks. The ones we fucked up, I didn't think we fucked up that bad, except for the DeAndre Swift one, which I think was made up for with Julian Acquire. So I'm feeling like an A- B+ is pretty good for me.
Nice. There we go. All right. So here's the second question, which is a little more IDP substance.
Yeah, I figured out how to make this not as complicated.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I ripped this off from the fantasyfootballshow.com. They had a bunch of guys on. They had Mike Wright, Matthew Berry, and some others, and they were asking them, if you had your choice of getting CMC and Saquon, but then not being able to pick again until round 5, or just having your draft as usual, which one would you take? And it's like a good hypothetical question. So I figured the IDP version. Well,
was it actually
like,
round 5?
Yeah, like you skipped those 3 picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, easily Saquon and McCaffrey.
Right. It might have been 6, but whatever. The point was you get those 2, but then you gotta build your team from waiver wire / end of draft picks, but you get those 2 studs, right? So the IDP version is, if you can start your IDP defense with Garrett, Hunter, both Bosas, but you have to build your linebackers and safeties and corners off of waiver wire guys, do you take that, or do you just draft as normal? Like, which would you prefer and why? What do you guys think about that? I thought it was a good hypothetical question.
So this depends entirely for me on how big the rosters are. So like if we're doing our 53-man roster thing that we do, the waiver wire is garbage. If you're doing a league where it's like, I don't know, like half that size, then you take the D lineman because there's enough linebackers and defensive backs you can stream. Even like with the 53-man roster, like I think I didn't take our draft that we have going right now. I don't think I took a defensive back until round like 40, and I still feel okay about it. Like I don't feel bad about it at all. And I think you can get a lot of linebackers that are going to produce. So I'm in most cases taking the 4 defensive linemen.
Yeah,
And then waiver wire for everybody else.
I agree absolutely, completely. Like, we always talk about how LBs and safeties grow on trees during the season, and they do. And if you're telling me I can start with essentially the 4 best defensive linemen out the gate, like, I'm taking that. Yeah, I might take it on the chin the first few weeks until injuries mount and guys start coming into the waiver wire. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And if I'm going into fantasy playoffs with those 4 defensive linemen plus a bunch of guys that I found off the waiver wire that'll produce almost as good as some of the guys you would have drafted originally. I mean, look at like James Burgess last year. From when he got into that lineup till the end of the year, he produced about what Avery Williamson would have in that same spot. You know what I mean? So if you can get guys like that, you go the 4DL every time. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I'm definitely. I like this question because if you think about it, even like you're gonna get certain studs at the different positions, but if you just cram all of those studs into one section, like which section would you rather have? And I think defensive linemen's would be where you'd want to kind of bulk up because those are the depending on your scoring. I guess if you've got like just bad IDP scoring that doesn't benefit anything but tackles, then maybe it's not the best place to bulk up on. But it seems the trend in IDP is going towards this bigger play format where sacks and everything not only just stack up as far as like tackles for loss and all that stuff, but it's just more beef in your scoring. These guys are going to be the ones you want. So I'm all for it. I think that just listening to us, doing your research, reading, you can find the linebackers and the defensive backs off the waiver wire, and defensive linemen not so much. What did we have last year of guys that came out of nowhere? You had Sam Hubbard, Shaq Barrett.
Well, I mean, he was OLB, but yeah, Sam Hubbard, Ionitis, Robert Quinn.
Hubbard wasn't even really out of the blue.
Like for redraft, those were the guys. Like Dynasty, yeah, those guys were all taken. But for most redraft leagues, those were the hot trending transactions. Were those guys?
So you had like 3-4 guys that you could have grabbed, and
total.
Yeah, and they were really good. They became studs essentially. But outside of that, like there wasn't anything. There's no way of like piecing together players to create a stud like you could with linebackers. A linebacker you could follow the waiver wire, follow the injuries, and put together like an LB2, over the course of the year between like 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah,
if you're lucky, an LB1.
Right. And with Sleeper too, like, this is probably more like a Yahoo or My Fantasy League question with the specific positions. With Sleeper, if it's just DB, you can just fucking stream corner all year. You don't even have to worry about getting safeties. Just look at the matchups every week, stream corner every week. You're good. Like, that's what Sean's doing right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I feel great about it. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of guys out here that I still really like at defensive back. I could use another, 15 roster spots.
Yeah, you can get, I've noticed in these startups, you can get Stephon Gilmore in, round 42.
Hey, he's still on the board, I think. So.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't taken him yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
we're getting close to round 42.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Desmond King was my first one off the board, and I took him in round 40 something. And I took him because we get return yard points. And it was yeah, he somehow fell to round 40, and I took Desmond King for return yards basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Are you ready to take your fantasy draft to the next level? Order your rookie draft guide today, covering 122 rookie prospects in both IDP and offense. A collaboration between your favorite analysts. Pre-order at idpguys.org and dynastyfootballdigest.com.
This week's news.
Alrighty, kind of a news light week. Unfortunately, we got to start with some bad news. Just rest in peace to Dak Prescott's brother, Jace Prescott. Yeah, that was not great news. That happened on the first day of the draft. But also, Tavares Jackson passed away since our last show. Yeah, not great. On to more lighter news, though. Legatron signs a deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Hoo-wee!
How did this make the news? Nobody gives a fuck.
I do. We got a guy with a cool name kicking field goals. That's important.
It's the dumbest fucking. He's not even the top 5 kicker.
Whoa. Healthy Legatron is definitely a top 5 kicker.
Well, one year.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if he is anymore.
Oh, I smell a booty hole bet coming. No,
do it.
No, but
do it.
But seriously though, we should track if Legatron ends up in the top 5 of kickers this year. Just cause.
By what metric? Like.
I don't know.
Percent?
What's normal? Just like normal
Fantasy
Yahoo
points.
kicker scoring or whatever.
Oh, I'm not talking about fantasy points.
Okay. Well, he's a good normal kicker too. Like.
That's what I meant. I don't think he's a top 5 normal kicker. Like kickers in fantasy are totally random and has everything to do with the offense, and I hate them. So.
You don't think he's who are 4 guys better than him or 5 guys better than him?
I honestly don't know
Tucker.
off the top of my head. Well, I'll take a look at some kickers and I'll get back to you for next show.
I bet you he's like 5 or 4. Anyway, CMC 4-year deal. That's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Have you guys seen the Yannick Ngakoue stuff going back and forth with? Yeah. Not ideal for either party, but Ngakoue seems to be killing his value a little bit. What do you guys think? Or his money a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. Like, I haven't seen anything like that before. Like, oh man, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, anyone that didn't see this, he was basically having it out on Twitter with the owner of his current team and tanking his own potential earnings with whatever the next team is because he looks like a loose cannon now.
Right.
Yeah, and basically him telling the owner to trade him and the owner saying, like, I would, but nobody will give me anything for you.
Because of shit like this, yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. The big one, Gronk to Tampa Bay. How excited are you guys?
I am excited to trade away my Gronk shares.
Yeah, I'm not into it. I think. Do you think he gets top 12 tight end this year?
I think he's a borderline tight end 1, tight end 2. So I think he's probably in that like 10 to 16 range.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There just aren't that many good tight ends, man, and we
Do you
didn't
think
really
he-
add an influx in talent at all.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think he bulks up at all?
He's gonna have to.
Yeah, no,
I mean-
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's gonna have to, but like, is it gonna be? I don't know the NFL regimen enough. I know that usually guys who are at NFL weight that retire, they just shrivel. Can you reverse that quickly? Like,
Yeah, so think about it this way. A lot of these kids will finish their college year, and then they'll have like a month or something like that. Let's see. No, probably 2 months to get ready for the combine, and they'll add like 30 pounds.
okay.
So
There was that dude on Jacksonville added 60 pounds with smoothies. You guys see that story?
yeah, that was over the course of a year, but yeah,
It's
Ben
doable.
Barch, right?
I don't know his name. I just saw the story.
Yeah, Ben Barch. He's
Dra-
actually from a local college out here.
Nice. Yeah, draft is your thing. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Percy Harvin considering a comeback now that the league marijuana law is bit the dust. Any interest?
Can we rewind
Who
5
owns
years? Because I
who
might have
owns
been
his
interested
contract?
then.
Yeah, I have no
Who owns his
idea.
contract? No one knows.
Wasn't it the Vikings?
No, I thought it was the Bills. Yeah, I think it was the Bills because I think it went from Minnesota to Seattle to Buffalo.
Mm. Yeah.
I kind of,
Good question.
yeah, I don't know. He's been sitting on the waiver wire in a couple of leagues that are really deep, and I haven't touched him. But like, I've considered it. Like, I've gotten close to being like, why not? But I haven't pulled the trigger yet, and nobody else has either. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds
It's like
about
when
right.
Chad Johnson talked about coming back like a couple years ago.
Mm.
Yeah,
We'll see it
I
when
mean,
it
like,
happens.
right. What are the odds that Percy Harvin comes back and ends up as a top 36 receiver after this influx in talent from the NFL draft? Like,
No way.
almost zero. And like, what are the odds he ends up as a top 12 receiver? Zero.
No way. And
So-
if it's the Bills too, absolutely no way.
Yeah. So at that point, it's just like, and I'm like talking myself off a ledge here now. It's just like, what's the upside? You know, like, what is the point? What is the best case scenario? And I think like best case scenario is a wide receiver 3. And the odds of that happening are really bad. So no.
I think the best case scenario would be a wide receiver 3 in maybe a game or 2.
Mm.
I don't think it would be over the course of the year. Like, if he gets back on the field, I feel like that might be a miracle.
Right. I guess I'm not saying that I think it's likely. I think, let's say the Bill zone is right. I think best case scenario is he comes in and Stephon Diggs goes down with one of his concussions. He's done for the year because he's had so many. Actually, it's not. Was it concussions? No, he has the ankle issues. Whatever it is. Let's say he's done for the year and they have nobody else to throw to but Percy Harvin. Like, that's, I think, your best case scenario. But it's still not good. And so, like, what's the point? Like, just don't bother. I guess your best case scenario is you get him and then he has one good game and then you can trade him for literally anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, Matt Breida to the Dolphins.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Did
for
they-
all the
did they-
people... Go ahead.
Did they get anyone in the draft? I can't even remember.
At running back? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think they did. Which is surprising. So I think
Yeah.
I think the Lions saved the Dolphins from taking a running back early. I think is what happened. But I like this a lot, and it works out really well for all the Breida owners because I think most of the people that had Matt Breida also had a variety of other 49ers running backs that they have just been accumulating, hoping they can get the hot hand. So what this means is that for all the people like me that have Raheem Mostert and Matt Breida, now you have potentially 2 starting running backs, which is great. So
Cool. Speaking of 49ers, Trent Williams to the 49ers to make that offensive line even better, that run game even better. Yeah, that's a good move for them.
It's a great move. Great move. Loved it.
Yep. Also 49ers news here. Marquise Godwin to the Eagles. Okay.
Marquise Goodwin, but
whatever.
I don't know. I had to. You're being a Joey. Dude,
Well,
Joey,
he's not good enough for me to like actually memorize his name.
Joey called Keekly Queekly on the on the live stream, and he messaged me immediately afterward. He's like, "I am so glad you were not there for that."
I missed that.
Oh man, but yeah. So actually, like, Marquise Goodwin going to the Eagles is the most important part of this is that it's a trend where they basically signed all of the fastest people at receiver via free agency and the draft as possible. They added a fuck ton of speed to that offense, and it is going to be an exciting offense this year.
Okay. I like the Rager pick, definitely.
Eagles fans hate it.
Why?
I don't know, man. Like, you should have seen. I was seeing everything that Wild Spicy was out there.
Oh yeah, he liked it though.
Yeah, he liked it. But all of the people he was arguing with, man, like he was the living embodiment of that Jon Snow gif where it's the army coming at him and he just like draws his sword and stands there. That was him, because everyone I saw commenting on his shit hated the Rager pick. And it was like, great, we signed a punt returner. It's like, what? No. Like, what are you talking about?
Did they not see the year before last year where they threw more than 10 times a game? Like,
dude, or just see last year and not just see the numbers from last year.
Right.
People are dumb, and people love to have opinions that they hold very strongly without doing any research on it at all. It's like, oh yeah, like I heard somebody say one time that he's similar to Nelson Aguilar, so I'm gonna go off and like spew shit all over the internet about how this was a dumb pick because he's just Nelson Aguilar. And it's like, they're nothing alike, and you should really do your own research, because whoever said that is leading you astray.
Yeah, he was retweeting stuff the entire draft that was just hilarious. Okay, I don't know if it's official. As of a couple hours ago, it was in progress. Jameis Winston to the Saints.
Ooh.
Yes, I did hear that.
It came from the right places, Schefter and Rappaport, so
yeah,
it looks legit.
Yep, I think it is. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I think Dynasty Leagues, you buy. I mean, I guess you don't buy. If you have them, you hold. Hopefully you didn't drop them already. If you're in Superflex, don't ever drop your quarterbacks until at least halfway through the year. And even then, like a guy as young as Winston, you shouldn't be dropping him. Just hold until you have a better quarterback option. So if you can sell for a decent price, go for it. If not, then just hold on to him.
And Breeze is not exactly a young whippersnapper anymore. He could go down pretty easy. He did go down last year.
Yeah, that's how Teddy Bridgewater got his payday.
Do you think if he does go down, do you think they let Winston just be Winston, or they tell him to like rein it in?
Oh, they'll rein him in. There's no way that they let him just go out there and do whatever the fuck he wants.
Well, but he got the eye corrective surgery. He can actually see the one receiver down the field rather than...
That was the only thing that was wrong with him.
Yeah, that's it. Excuse me. So these last two aren't really relevant, but I just want to say them anyway. Did you guys see Jay Cutler's getting divorced?
Don't care.
Is he not going to be on reality TV anymore?
That is what I was aiming for here. Yes, we will not be seeing Cutler on reality TV.
Aww.
Which is too bad. Yeah, pour some out for Cutler, fucker. And last but not least, did you guys see the guy taking a shit in the background of Vrabel's house during the pick?
I did not.
It wasn't.
Thank you for sharing the video, the picture.
I believe that is not true, but that's okay.
That he clearly has pants around ankles, is sitting.
I don't think you could see the pants around the ankles.
They're there.
All right, I guess I missed that when I saw the picture the first time.
Yeah. Is that? Oh yes, yeah. See, look at the lower part.
I don't think bare legs. Pants are on the ankles.
Bare legs.
Shorts, dude.
That could be a dog.
Could be.
Looking at it now, that could be a dog.
He's in shitting position though, and he's hunched over on the phone.
He's reading a book, I think.
You don't read a book in that position. He's definitely taking a shit.
I don't think so, man.
I don't know. But yeah, that's it for news.
MyFantasyFootballShirt.com is your place to get top quality fantasy football gear. Get yourself some merch from some of your favorite podcasts. Need some custom shirts for your league? Contact us today. Just go to MyFantasyFootballShirt.com.
Alrighty, so this is the part of the show where we pair together two sets of defensive players and a set of offensive players against each other to see who we like better, and then we send it out to you guys in Twitterland to see what you think and talk about it the week after. So it's been a couple weeks since we last recorded. I think it was Easter weekend, so was that 2 weeks ago?
Something like that. Every day feels the same. I have no
Yeah.
I
idea.
don't even know what day of the week it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the day that I wake up
So,
and get to play some
It's
video
what
games.
it's Westworld Day. That's what day of the week it is. Good
Ooh,
season so far.
I totally forgot. I'm behind a couple episodes, I think.
Marshawn is he's been in 2 episodes now, so keep going.
I've seen him in 2.
Ooh.
I've already seen him in 2.
Oh, okay. So then you're almost caught up, yeah.
Yeah, I think tonight, and then I'm behind 1. So
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Okay, so let's talk about the previous gut checks. First off is a pair of quarterbacks. Jacksonville's Gardner Minshew versus Denver's Drew Lock.
this one has changed.
Wow, yeah, this has changed.
I was ahead of the curve on this one.
So with 100 votes, so who would be your pick now that the draft?
Oh,
is?
Drew Lock.
Yeah, mine hasn't changed. I'm still Drew Lock.
So with 100 votes, 67% went Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where Sam has planted his flag this year too. So I don't know. He's been right the last 2 years.
Oh, he's planning it on Drew Lock? I thought it was
Yeah.
Kyler Murray.
No,
It was
he's saying
It
he's
was
saying Kyler
Jalen
Murray.
Hurts for a minute.
Right. He said that Hurts would have an overall better career than Kyler Murray, fantasy career, is what he said. And that obviously isn't looking so hot right now. But he's planted his flag on Drew Lock.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So the next one is a pair of linebackers. Arizona's Devondre Campbell and the Raiders' Nick Kwiatkowski. What do you say now that the draft is over?
Kwiatkowski.
For the year, Kwiatkowski, I still want Devondre Campbell overall.
Okay.
Dynasty.
So 85 votes. Devondre Campbell, 60%.
Yeah, I think that would change now, but I still want Devondre Campbell in Dynasty.
All right. Pair of defensive tackles. Cincinnati's DJ Reader versus the Chargers' Linval Joseph. What do you guys say now?
Linval Joseph still, I think. It doesn't change much.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay.
All right, so 144 votes, 52% DJ Reader.
Yeah, that was always going to be a close one, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Alrighty. This week's edition is Rookies version 1 of God knows how many. But here we go. We'll start with the one that everyone's doing. Who do we want? RB1 this year. Clyde Edwards-Helaire of the Chiefs. Jonathan Taylor of the Colts. And I'm actually going to say Jonathan Taylor.
You're dead to me.
That's fine.
Nate,
So-
you want to go ahead? I don't want to talk next to John.
I mean, I really got to defer this to, you guys do more of the research on this.
I
don't
just-
know
I
the
just
rookies
think-
that well.
I just think with Andy Reid there, like he brought like last year, he brought in McCoy, gave him a shot. Like there's no rhyme or reason to what he does sometimes. Like Hilaire's obviously the better talent. Yes, there's a reason why he got taken first. There's a reason why Sean was proved correct, and why I poked all the people that called him an idiot in that thread afterwards. But I feel like this year and probably going forward, Taylor is safer option. That's why I'm taking it.
So here's
So,
what I will say, though. I remember when this pick went through, and I don't know, Sean, were you on the stream? Or no, this was the last pick. So this was the late night. They were talking about how who was it? Who's their current running back?
Williams.
Williams is probably going to get the start out of the gate, and it's going to be Hilaire CEH to take over that spot. So for redraft purposes, you're probably going to get the better return with Jonathan Taylor. As far as talent goes,
It's still there.
and Kansas City is going to be up most games, so they're going to be running the clock out. You're going to get more, dynasty wise. I think it's Hilaire, but I think redraft is Taylor.
Something to point out is that previous to this past year, maybe it was the year before. It's either this last year or the last 2 years. Andy Reid has never really used a committee. It's always been one guy, and that's his guy, and that's who he uses. And whoever it is just blows up. So to me, the last couple of years have been that he just hasn't had that guy. Like, he hasn't had somebody that he could just, like, give the ball to on all of his running back touches. I think that's why, like, there's no other reason to spend a first-round pick on a running back. Like, there just isn't. So, like, people that are saying, like, it's going to be Damian Williams' job to lose and all that, like, they're hoping he loses his job to make the pick look good. Like, they're hoping that CEH takes over there, because to me, you don't spend a first-round pick on a running back if you don't plan on using him. Like, it just doesn't make sense. You don't spend a first-round pick on a running back ever, let alone on a guy you're not going to use. And especially given the history with Andy Reid, I don't think that CEH is going to be riding the bench for very long.
Well, right. And I'm not saying that it's going to be like a mid-season change or anything, but if these guys are in both fairly decent situations with pretty close to the same talent.
Taylor can't catch footballs. That's a huge difference in fantasy football.
Yeah, definitely. No, absolutely. But I'm just saying, like, you knock off 2-3 games off of Hilaire, I don't know. Like, in redraft, that might be a big difference.
Colts have a really, really good offensive line too. And if this were Belichick, this would be an easy thing. Belichick just looks at talent and will make the call and doesn't have a problem. Reed's an actual human being, not a fucking cyborg, and might have some, loyalty to the guy that helped him win a Super Bowl, that put the game away on that touchdown. I know it's an if, it's a maybe, but I just feel like Taylor is guaranteed production now, immediately, and for the duration of his career. Where Hilaire, there's more questions. There's more questions.
They also had Damian Williams, and then they signed LaShawn McCoy to come in and play, like, in front of him. And, like, that tells you how much they liked Damian Williams going into last year. And then McCoy didn't play well, so Damian Williams started getting more carries. But, like, I don't know, man. You're not drafting a running back in the first round if you're not planning on using him. Seattle would be the exception to that rule.
Yeah. How do we think this goes?
CEH.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I think it's clearly CEH for me, but when I put that out pre-draft, he was my RB1. Like, nobody had anything nice to say to me.
Yeah. This is true.
They can all fucking suck it. If you're listening, suck it. Except for the one guy that came back and was like, hey, man, like, good pick. Like, I owe you an apology. And I was like, what is this? Is this a trap?
That happens.
Like, this is Twitter. This is Twitter. This has got to be a fucking trap. The rest of you guys can suck it, though.
It's a crap.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll get this question out of the way early so we don't never have to revisit it again, because this is all I'm seeing on the timeline, like, everywhere. Anyway, so that was the first one. Next one is a pair of wide receivers, arguably two of the guys that have landed in better situations. First one is Justin Jefferson, now of the Minnesota Vikings, versus Brandon Ayuk of the Arizona State, Sun Devils, currently of the 49ers, and a guy that helped me win a fantasy title. Thank you, Brandon. I think these offenses are actually pretty similar. They're run first-ish. I think I want Jefferson, though, just because he's not going to immediately be the guy that has to do everything, and Thielen can kind of take some pressure off him. What do you guys think?
This is tough for me. So there's a couple of things here. So for me, Kirk Cousins is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So Jefferson's got the quarterback aspect. I think they both ran in run-first offenses. I think that Ayuk is the better overall talent, but I don't know. They're close. I think Ayuk is the better overall talent at wide receiver. Justin Jefferson is better at what he does, which is slot receiver, which then becomes the problem because I am not certain that Minnesota drafted Justin Jefferson to be a slot wide receiver, and that's where he needs to play. He is significantly better from the slot than he is as an outside wide receiver. He's not very good against the press, and he struggles to track the ball down the field. So he needs to play in the slot, and if the Vikings don't do that consistently, then I don't think he's going to be successful. So then the final kind of nail in the coffin here is that Kyle Shanahan's just the better coach. So I trust him to utilize talent better.
All right. Okay. Love it.
Yeah. I'm going to pass on this one. I don't know enough about these guys. It's too early for me.
Just read the big board, man. Just read the big board.
Or pay attention in college fantasy instead of just setting your lineup 5 minutes before the game starts and shit.
Doing my best.
That's all right. We'll get you there. You're good at other things, and that's why we love you. All righty. Kenneth.
What are those other things?
No, like
right.
you.
Hold on.
No.
No. Hold this for next week. Next week we'll do a segment where we list 10 things we like about Nate.
Oh, we could do that. No, but honestly though, Nate's the big boss. He runs the show. He organizes everyone. He makes things happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure people know that. I just didn't want you to leave like Nathan's good at other things like sucking dick or something. You know, like, that would be.
I mean, I'd be more concerned that John knows that, but you know.
Oh Jesus! Alrighty. Last but not least, it's probably going to be mostly offense for a while on these gut checks instead of our normal 2 defense, 1 offense, just because there's more takes on offense right now. Last one though is our first defensive one this week. Kenneth Murray, linebacker, landed with the Chargers, or Patrick McQueen, linebacker, landed with the Ravens. I think I want Murray just because their offense is going to be significantly more crap and they're going to be on the field more often. And staring at Baltimore box scores for years, I know that they haven't had a stud guy in the middle since CJ Mosley that just sucked up all the production. And I doubt that's going to happen this year. But I could be wrong. Who knows? What do you guys think?
I think Patrick Queen's the better linebacker. I think they both landed in similar situations. I think Kenneth Murray actually probably landed in the worst situation of the two of them.
Isn't there a lot of guys in that on that defense?
Which
LA,
one?
The Chargers?
The Chargers? Yeah, there's a lot. Like, Denzel Perriman is going to be sitting behind him. So, like, it'll be a short leash, I think. Where, like, Denzel Perriman's not a world beater or anything like that. But, like, if Murray's struggling, they have somebody to bring in instead. Where, like, in Baltimore, you really don't. Like, if Patrick Queen is struggling, like, you just got to ride it out. That said, I think Patrick Queen's the better player. Kenneth Murray isn't the best tackler or cover guy. He's just kind of like, he's an athletic freak with instincts that's kind of raw, runs sideline to sideline, and he plays super aggressive. So, like, he kind of has a little bit of that that Darius Leonard mentality to him, which is what gives him a lot of upside. But he doesn't have the same cover skills that Leonard has, and he's not as good a tackler. Side note, though, I'll take Willie Gayo over both of them over in Kansas City.
Cool, but who you taking here, though?
Patrick Queen.
Okay. All right. You didn't actually answer. You just...
No, you're right. I didn't. I just gave, like, all reasons why Patrick Queen is better than Kenneth Murray, and then, like, figured that our audience is smart enough to figure that out, but they're listening to us, so, I mean...
Hey, yeah. Got to factor that in.
Yeah. I'm going to go Patrick Queen here mainly because I drafted him in one of my rookie drafts, and I'm, hoping that he's the better pick.
Would you guys rather take one of these two or Simmons immediately?
Simmons easily.
Do you think Simmons ends up being the other safety there, or does he slide into linebacker somehow?
Simmons we'll get to that when I get to my draft part. I'll talk to you a
Okay.
little bit about how I feel about him.
Alrighty. Yep. All right. So that's it. We'll send him out there.
The IDP Guys is your #1 resource for IDP information for your fantasy leagues. For as little as $1 a month, get access to all that we have to offer. Rankings, ADP trade calculator, in-season assets, and a Slack chat to get personal help all year round. Purchase today at idpguys.org.
Special guest.
All right. Today we are joined with at KBellF54 Kyle Bellefeuil of Fake Pigskin. Sir, how are you?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, glad
Pleasure
to have you.
to have you, man. We've been talking for a long time on the Twitter machine there.
Yeah.
Kyle's a huge up and comer in IDP Twitter. Guy definitely knows his stuff. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. And it was kind of interesting timing that we're having him on this week after the Packers draft. But we'll get into that. Let's start with the usual shenanigans, though, a little background. So how did you get into football? What's your favorite team? Talk us through that whole spiel.
Oh, right on. Yeah. I grew up watching football. My dad and my grandpa, huge football fans. Most of our family's Packer fans. So that's what led me to be a Packer fan. And then grew up, when Favre was tearing it up in the league. And that was a lot of fun to watch. And I actually live about 90 miles from Lambeau. So,
Nice.
Yes. No,
So
actually,
where-
you got to. I would be. I got to travel south too.
He's in the UP.
Oh,
I'm in the-
okay.
Yeah, I got to travel
All right.
south.
He's
to do
the
that, yeah.
Michigan trader.
I gotcha.
Right. Yeah.
I don't blame him.
Nice.
So.
Dude, so a couple things with that. Today Fox had that Super Bowl 96, I believe it was, against the Patriots. That was on today. I was watching that
Oh,
at
really?
dinner.
Wow.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was
no.
funny because it was the third quarter. They're up 14 points. I know they win the game, obviously.
Yeah.
But Favre is throwing on like 3rd and 12, and one of the receivers drops it for the Packers, and I'm swearing at the TV. And it's a game from like 20-something years ago that I
Right.
know the Packers win the Super Bowl, and I'm just an idiot. But as far as Lambeau's concerned, have you been to a game there?
Oh yeah. I've been to a few. I actually went to the Seattle playoff game this year.
No
so that-
shit.
Yeah. That was my first playoff game I've been to, and that was a great game.
Man, what's that like? I've never been there. That's on the
It
bucket
was-
list.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. The atmosphere is great. The fans, the fans are super into it. Everybody's up cheering. Beers are flowing. It's the tailgating's fun. And then the atmosphere is just electric there, and then especially in that playoff game, man, it was definitely awesome. And then it helps that we won.
Yeah.
It was, you're walking out of the stadium, everybody's just happy to be in the streets, ready to roll.
So
So,
I went to a game at Lambeau. The last time I went to Lambeau, we had fucking awesome seats, Lions Packers. I think you guys had Deshaun Kaiser. We just destroyed you guys. So it was a good game to be at.
yeah.
The dude, and like, how Lambeau is, where you're not just sitting close together, you're like sitting on top of the person in front of you, basically, because the
Yeah.
bleachers are so close together.
Right.
The dude in front of us legitimately shit himself
Oh,
and proceeded to stay for the duration of the game. So the entire game was everybody like pushing each other, like trying to avoid who's sitting and like people who haven't been to Lambeau just don't get it because you're legitimately right above them. So
yes.
like all of the fumes that are like coming up like from them are just going straight into your face. Like this fucking Packer fan just shit his pants and stayed for the whole game despite the fact we were just blowing you out. It's like man, why couldn't one of the like weak ass fans shit their pants? Like, why do you have to be the guy that wants to stay for the whole fucking game?
He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, he didn't go anywhere. So.
Well, I mean, it had to be worth every penny, though. You got the full experience, man.
So we get the full Green Bay experience.
What do you guys tailgate at something like that? What's a Midwest tailgate look like? What kind of food you guys? I'm taking a big three. I know you're listening. I'm taking a page out of your fucking playbook. What are you guys grilling at a tailgate at a Packers game like that?
Oh, lots of brats, man. You know.
Nice.
Yes. Actually, I had a buddy that used to have a big ambulance. He converted it into a tailgate thing. You know, he'd have TVs going in there, a big party bus, and music blaring TVs, and he'd have all kinds of stuff on the grill. We were playing the Bears one time, and he had cooked bear meat. And
Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah.
How did that taste?
Yeah, I mean, I was eating it. It's good. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's one of those stadiums I just really want to go to at some point. You know what I mean? That's so cool. Yeah, good shit. So before we get to the draft here, other offseason moves. Kirksey, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about some of the other stuff they've done this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we obviously let Blake walk. He signed with the Giants, and we picked up Kirksey. You know, Kirksey can play. He had a few good years there in Cleveland, and he's been hurt the last couple. He knows Pettin's system. You know, he's familiar with them from Cleveland. Yeah, we're gonna need him. We're gonna need him to stay healthy and produce, because right now he's the man. He's got to take over. You know, if he can stay healthy, I see him having a real nice year.
It would have been really nice if they, you know, like drafted a linebacker in case he got hurt. You know, like one that could potentially play at some sort of like replacement level quality. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel you there, man.
All right, so
it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice though to see another team in the NFC North just butchering their draft. You know, I feel like we can all commiserate.
Because like Jordan Brooks, when I watched Jordan Brooks tape, like the first thing that came to mind was like Green Bay Packers guy, because like Blake Martinez is not that good of a football player. Like he's just really not, but he was such a good producer because his role on the Packers was so limited, where everything that he had to do was in front of him. He never had to drop back into coverage and like turn his hips and run with anybody. And like you watch Jordan Brooks tape, and everything he did well fits what the Packers are going to ask him to do, and everything that he failed at was something that the Packers never asked Blake Martinez to do. And it was just like match made in heaven. And then the Seahawks went and took him in round one, and you know what you guys did. So
right, yeah, no, yeah, and I agree with you. Yeah, that's
so Sean ripped off the Band-Aid. So let's go with it. Talk us through, you know, we'll start chronologically. The first round pick there, what was going through your head when that shit happened?
Yeah, so we trade up and we jump Baltimore, and you know, I was really hoping it was for Patrick Queen. I really did. I don't know if that was just me because I like Patrick Queen, but you know, I felt like we need a linebacker as well to pair with Kirksey, and so it's kind of where I was hoping. And then they send the ticket in, and it's a quarterback. And I didn't have much to say at first. I kind of just stared at the TV and the name to make sure I was reading it right.
Because Baltimore was totally going to be drafting a first-round quarterback, right?
Yeah,
right. Big need.
Do you think they just clicked the wrong button? You know, kind of like when you're in your dynasty draft and you're like, shit, I didn't mean to draft that guy.
Yeah. And they, you know, Goodell wouldn't undo the pick, so yeah. I guess he got a quarterback. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, we were talking about this beforehand, before we started recording, and like, yeah, Green Bay's got a good track record, especially recently with quarterbacks. But I mean, to be in the NFC Championship game and really not that far off, like, yeah, they got blown out, but they came back. They made it respectable. They could have won that game. You know, just needing a little help going from that far to the Super Bowl, and instead they just go this route. Like, what does that say to you? Like, that must suck. Like, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it's frustrating, to be in the NFC Championship, one game away from the Super Bowl, and to come out of the draft the first couple days, not necessarily getting anything we needed to help fill the spots that were weak. It's definitely frustrating. I would have loved to see a playmaking wide receiver, somebody to help take a little heat off of Adams and give Rodgers another target. And a linebacker, like I said, I was kind of hoping we'd take Queen there. A linebacker would have been nice, help short up in the middle. And it's frustrating. I'm not gonna lie.
What's so strange to me about it is that you look at what Denver did, and they went and they just loaded up on weapons. And kind of the thought process behind that is like, you want to know if the quarterback is the guy, So like, if Drew Lock goes out there and fails with this group of guys that he has, he's not going to succeed with anybody, So that immediately,
right.
And you can move on the same way that the Cardinals moved on to Kyler Murray. So like, even if you're saying like, okay, like Rodgers is on borrowed time and we're going to draft Jordan Love and he's going to be the guy in 2 years, it would make so much more sense than whatever the hell it is that they did to draft a bunch of weapons on offense so that when he steps into a good situation and you can evaluate him quicker. Because if he walks in there and he doesn't have like a plethora of weapons around him, you're going to finish year one and you're going to be like, oh, well, maybe he wasn't that bad. Maybe it was his supporting cast. Maybe it was this. Maybe it was that. It was like, just figure it out so that you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. No, I totally agree. Like, like you said with Denver, given Locke all the weapons he could ask for to see if he's got it, right? You're going to know right away. Makes sense,
You'll know by the end of the year. And if he doesn't have it, then you move on.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and we're going to see, I guess. We're going to have to wait a few years to see what Love's got. And that quarterback room is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I would love to see that interaction.
Oh, no doubt.
Boy.
And I saw some spin today saying that the Dillon pick was them doubling down on their run first mentality next year. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we drafted 3 offensive linemen and a big bruising running back, and it looks like they want to run it.
I mean, he did come from Tennessee.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I was actually telling my buddy, I was like, we're looking like we're building to look like Tennessee is what it looks like to me, and he's like, absolutely,
Except like Tennessee before they got good.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Oh man, we should have seen this coming.
Right? Yeah, right.
But I don't know, man. It just like nothing they're doing makes sense right now, and like this is the first time I can honestly say that if I were a Packer fan, I'd be worried about like the next few years. Like this year, it's gonna be fine. Like it's still gonna be fine. You've got mostly what you had last year. It's all gonna be okay.
Yep.
But like if this is the direction that it's going, it's gonna be a problem. And what's even more problematic to me is that I think Rodgers is still good enough to keep the team good enough that like your GM could continue to do this for the next 2 to 3 years and like be good enough that he doesn't lose his job. And like, you could just tank the next 3 drafts and then set yourself back a decade.
That's scary. No, you make a good point, Sean. Absolutely. It's definitely not what I expected out of this draft. And I really don't know what the future is going to hold and what direction they really want to go with everything,
Yeah, I hear you, man. But yeah, no, we definitely, we appreciate your feedback on this. I know it's probably not your favorite thing to talk about right now, but
it's all good. All good, man.
But it's all right. I mean,
football is still always a good thing.
Right.
Absolutely,
And it's not like the Lions had a fucking perfect draft or the Bears either, for that matter. Minnesota did. They were pretty close.
Yes. Yeah, they had a nice draft. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah. And Cowboys did all right.
Right. Yes. You guys did.
But we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so you're writing for Fake Pigskin. You're doing their IDP. How did you get into IDP? Because I assume with fantasy, you didn't just jump into the deep end like right away with like D tackles and corners and all that, right?
No. We started our first IDP league probably about 9 years ago or so. It was actually the first dynasty league I was in. I've been in redraft since high school. We've had a long running league there, a few of them, and then we started a dynasty league and hit the IDP. And it was about 9 years ago, and I've been hooked ever since. And all my buddies in the league, it's a 16 teamer, full of really good owners. And we once we discovered the IDP landscape, we all got hooked, man. It really adds to the game, you know.
That league's still running?
Yep, going strong.
Awesome.
Yep.
Always love to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a lot. We all know each other. A lot of guys my age, all my buddies, and then a few older than me, and a lot of good shit talking, and it's good stuff, man. It's a real fun league. I think it'll be around for a while. But that's what got me started, and I've been hooked ever since.
Nice. What are you rating for Fake Pigskin? I mean, I've seen a bunch of different articles you do, but this is your chance to expand your audience a little bit. Like in season, what are you going to write? And right now in the off season, what are you doing for them?
So last year I started with Fake Pigskin right before the year. I seen they were looking for writers, and I was talking with Jared, the owner. I had followed Fake Pigskin for stuff for a while, and I got introduced to fantasy Twitter and seen they were looking for writers. Talked with Jared, and I said, he goes, well, what are you interested in? And I said, well, my favorite league was the one we were just talking about, and I mentioned IDP, and he goes, oh, we could always use IDP writers. And I was like, oh, I'll give that a shot. So actually that night I just thought to myself, I'm like, what am I doing right now in my leagues that's something I could write about? And I'm like, I'm trying to get these second-year linebackers that people paid up for that didn't do much cheap, right? So I wrote a piece on some breakout linebackers and a couple safeties and some defensive ends. Don't remember if I hit on them or not, but it started. And then in the season, I did their linebacker and defensive line rankings, redraft rankings, and I did a couple waiver pieces. And then this offseason, I did a couple stash pieces, linebackers and safety stash piece early on. Did some dynasty rankings. I just updated post free agency rankings, and I actually just started today working on a 2020 draft IDP quick hit piece. Just some relevant players, just a little blurb on a few of them. Just you can see what team drafts and what pick, and just a little info on them. Then I'm hoping to work on some rookie rankings, and just kind of see what comes to mind.
Awesome. So, all right. So let me ask. So there's like two schools of thoughts now that they've I've noticed lately been battling on IDP Twitter. It's the taking DL first or taking linebacker first. I mean, obviously it depends on scoring settings in your league.
Right.
But all things being equal, are you a guy that when you come to your first IDP, do you draft like defensive end, defensive tackle, or are you going after those stud LBs first, and why?
Recently I've been going after the stud defensive ends. Those guys are difference makers. They're the elite guys. There's not that many. If you can grab one early, you set yourself up nice there. And then linebackers pretty deep, man. There's a lot of good linebackers out there that are productive. If you can get a solid defensive end right away or two, and then hit some guys at linebacker that are 3-down guys that are just rock solid tackle numbers. That's usually the route I like to go. I got a hard time passing up Darius Leonard if he's there. But I usually go towards the D line first, and then if it's defensive tackle premium, was in a draft, and that was one I just wanted to own him, But I usually gravitate towards the D line first.
Nice. Okay, we asked this of everyone we bring on. That's like an IDP writer, ranker, or whatever. Well, this is like an off-season thing we do. Your ones going into next season. So your top guy at each position. So I'll just blast through them, and you tell me who you got. So who is your overall number one defensive tackle going into next year?
Defensive tackle, Aaron Donald.
All right. I like it. How about defensive end?
Daniil Hunter.
Ooh.
Big fan of Daniil Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. Linebacker, I mean, probably Leonard, right?
Yes. Yeah. Darius Leonard. Yep.
Okay.
Telvin Smith.
Yeah, right. Alvin Smith.
Coming
Yeah.
back. Coming back strong.
I don't know. You'd be surprised some of the answers we've gotten to this before. So just checking. This is a tough one. How about corner? Still Logan Ryan, or are you worried about him not signing yet? What do you think?
Little worried about him not signing, but if he does sign with Tennessee again, you got to think he has another solid year.
What if he doesn't?
Oh man, if he doesn't, maybe Tre'Davious White, maybe.
Okay, that's a good answer. I like that. And how about safety? Are you a James guy or an Adams guy, or are you coming at us with something out of left field?
I'm a Derwin James guy.
Nice, nice.
I do like Adams a ton, though, man. I mean, you really can't go wrong. But,
yeah. Either one's good.
Yeah.
So talking about this coming season or whatever, is there anyone that like you really like this year, like more than other years, or that you think is like prime for a breakout? Like, who are some guys you're thinking about that maybe some people that maybe everyone else hasn't thought of yet, or some guys you just really like this year?
Yeah, I would say one guy I like this year, had a good year last year, would be Shaq Thompson. I think I've always been a fan of his game, and he sat behind Thomas Davis for a while because Thomas Davis just is going to play forever. I think he could have a real big year. He had a good year last year, and Carolina didn't draft any linebackers either, so I could see him having a real big year. Cole Holcomb's a guy over in Washington. I'm real excited to see if he takes over in the middle for Ron Rivera. He looked good last year. He played the 60% snap range. If he can lock down that job in the middle and get a full-time gig, I think he could have a real nice second year.
Yeah, he still put up numbers even.
Yeah, he did. He did. Absolutely.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he had a real good rookie season. I think he could get even better if he just holds down that job.
Yeah, and I agree 100% on Shaq Thompson. He's definitely one of the winners of the draft there.
Yeah, absolutely.
When Carolina skipped Simmons, that was like, I don't know. That was huge because now Simmons goes to some muddier waters in Arizona. You know what I mean? Like, kind of devalues Hicks and Campbell and Budda Baker, and it's just a mess. Whereas if he had gone to Panthers, it would have been, just Shaq and him in the middle, and you're set. So
that was one spot I was looking for him to go. I thought he had a really good chance to go to Carolina.
Yeah, definitely. I got the last two questions, unless you guys got something. Nate,
Go
Sean?
for it.
Fire away.
All right, so we'll get you out of here on this. Give us a Packers season prediction and then an overall Super Bowl prediction. This is what we call our stupid early prediction part of the interview.
Stupid early prediction. So a Packers prediction?
Yep. And then just an overall Super Bowl, who's in it, who wins.
I guess my early Packers prediction is Aaron Rodgers is pissed off and just balls out and just slings it and slaps the belt on, hopefully. I don't know if that's a bold prediction, but I guess it's what I'd like to see.
Okay. I could see it. And how about who do you think's playing in the Super Bowl? I mean, obviously you hope the Packers. Is that who you think gets there?
I'd like to say so, but I think that San Francisco team's going to be really tough again.
Yeah.
I could see San Francisco and Kansas City for sure.
Oh, repeat?
Just absolute repeat.
I could see it,
Has that happened, or how many times has that happened? Do you know, Joey?
I don't know. That's a great question.
I have no idea.
I don't know if it's ever happened.
That'd
be pretty dope.
Hate to take the easy way
Patriots
out there,
Rams, there was a year in between. That's the closest one.
Right on.
Wait, no, Patriots did not play the Rams twice, did they?
I don't know.
Rams played the Titans, beat them, skipped a year, and then got beat by the Patriots. Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That would be something. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you, man. That was awesome. I appreciate it. On Twitter, he's at KBell BELLF 54. Kyle Bellefeuil of fakepigskin.com, right?
Yes, sir. And
Awesome.
thanks a lot for having me, guys. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Definitely. And we'll have you back soon for sure.
Sounds great, man. You take care, guys.
Yeah, you
Thanks.
too.
Yeah, we'll see you in the
Uh, uh,
see you in the startup drafts.
For sure, man. We'll see you around.
Dynasty Football Digest, your new essential site for Dynasty information. For as little as $1 a month, gain access to all that we have to offer. Rankings, trends, ADP, in-season assets, and a Slack chat just for subscribers. Purchase today at dynastyfootballdigest.com.
Check the rankings.
All right, so let's get into some draft talk. Sean, this week you want to cover some linebackers?
Yeah, so I'm not. We don't really have time for me to go super in depth on all these guys, but I'm just gonna kind of run through them real quick. All the guys that went in the first 3 rounds, because that's kind of the target area that you want to go for, and just talk about their landing spots. So, of the 15 guys of my top 15 on my big board, 10 of them went in the first 3 rounds, and then one of them was like first pick of the 4th round, and only one guy outside my top 15 landed in the first 3 rounds. So we'll get to him in a minute here. So Isaiah Simmons landing on the Cardinals. It's not the best landing spot because obviously they have Jordan Hicks and Devondre Campbell over there, and it just like there's a lot to go around there, and I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit scared off by that just because like they already have 2 linebackers. Like, is he going to be the 3rd linebacker here? Who's going to get kicked out? All that. On 3 linebacker sets, all 3 of them are going to be on the field. On 2 linebacker sets, all 3 of them are going to be on the field. I think that they'll move him back to safety or slot corner, or they'll have him rushing the passer. They'll have him doing something. I don't think anybody's getting off the field here. So the value you're losing on the other 2, you're losing because Isaiah Simmons is out there making plays that they then can't make. But I don't think that anybody's going to see significant downtick in snaps of those 3. I think you're more going to see the downtick on the slot corner and the safety and potentially edge rusher, depending on the sets that they run there. So that would be my guess there. So you're not taking a guy that high if he's not playing all the time. You're just not, especially a linebacker. If you're not planning on playing him all the time, you're not picking him there.
Do you think he'll end up designated as linebacker?
Yes. I think some places he'll get a linebacker safety hybrid designation. If you're fortunate, you might get the Jabril Peppers where they get the linebacker, safefty, cornerback, all the shit all in. So,
dude, if he gets a corner designation, oh my god.
Yeah, if he gets a corner designation, he's first overall pick.
Yeah,
it's Christian McCaffrey or Isaiah Simmons.
Jesus.
So then next guy off the board was Kenneth Murray. We talked about him a little bit. He is going to start right away. They took him in the first round. He's going to start, obviously. He's going to see playing time. I think he'll have a shorter leash than Patrick Queen, Isaiah Simmons, but I don't know. He'll be fine. And I also think he might lose some snaps here and there on passing or rushing downs, just like depending on the situation and the personnel that's on the field. Jordan Brooks to Seattle. It's really crowded over there. I really liked the linebacker, especially as an IDP value. He's like that traditional between the top tackles thumper that just like has worlds of athleticism too, so he can play sideline to sideline. So he's like the new age thumper. I really wanted to see him on Green Bay, and he landed in Seattle, and they're crowded, man. So I don't know. He, because of his draft capital, is probably going to be overpicked. I think if he can see the field significantly, he's a great player, though. Patrick Green, we talked about. I love him. Great spot. He was my linebacker. I almost said linebacker 1 because Simmons was just so far above everybody else. But he was my linebacker 2, and I really like the fit there. Josh Uche, we'll see what happens here. New England's weird with the linebackers. I think he is probably going to replace Kyle Van Noy. I think that's his role there, which is actually like a perfect role for him. That is exactly what he should be doing. He could play Jamie Collins' role as well, but he's a much better fit as a traditional linebacker than he is as a pure pass rusher. So I think like New England's a good spot for him. Football wise, I don't know how it'll be IDP wise. We all have struggles with the New England linebackers outside of Donta Hightower. Willie Gay, best spot. Honestly, I think he was probably he's in the same tier as Murray and Queen for actual talent level. I had him just below them because he had some off the field concerns, but I don't think those are persistent concerns. So Willie Gay is going to be the steal of your IDP drafts if people aren't paying attention. Logan Wilson, next guy off the board. Cincinnati is not a great linebacker situation for it's a good fit because it's not a good linebacker situation over there right now. But they do have like guys that are just good enough to like maybe steal some snaps or like hold them off, Nick Vigil. But I think he'll see the field sooner rather than later. He's really instinctual, good coverage. He just doesn't really play downhill very much and isn't like a form tackler, but I think his coverage gets him on the field sooner rather than later. Zach Bond, very similar to Josh Uche, landed in New Orleans. He's just going up against Kiko Alonso, Alex Anzalone. I like him a lot there at linebacker, and he has the added benefit of being an excellent pass rusher. So he, in sack leagues, like he should be a good off-ball linebacker that can also bring you sack potential. Jacob Phillips is the one guy that I didn't have in my top 15 that landed in the first 3 rounds. He's got easy playing time. So, like, I don't argue with taking him in IDP despite the fact that I thought he was just kind of, like, okay as a player. Nothing really stood out. So I don't really hate that pick for people looking at IDP. Malik Harrison also landed in Baltimore. Also think he's going to be able to land a role quickly, and he is probably going to be able to see a lot of the tackle plays. Like he's going to be put in a position to make a lot of tackles because he's not super rangy from sideline to sideline, but he has really good short area quickness. So he's really good between the tackles. He's good at getting off blocks, like really solid tackler, big hitter. And he's good in coverage, like at everything around him. He just doesn't have the range to like turn and run with guys. So if he ends up starting in Baltimore, he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on because I think he could really rack up some tackles. Davion Taylor, Philly's terrible at linebacker. He's really athletic, really rangy. I really like him. He was the last guy of the 3rd round, and I think he's probably somebody you can get a little later that is a good option for you. Last 2 guys we got here, Akeem Davis-Gaither. He fell out of the first 3 rounds. I liked him quite a bit more than the NFL, I think. But either way, first pick of the 4th round isn't bad. He also went to Cincinnati. So realistically, it's probably going to be Nick Vigil and Logan Wilson. It's tough to say right now, but I think Akeem Davis-Gaither could definitely be rotating in there, and he has like the speed and the coverage skills to be like the 3-down linebacker. So yeah, I think long term he's a great dynasty pick. And then Troy Dye fell super far, way further than I think he should have. He's really, really good in coverage, and he's like 6'4", really good in coverage, really instinctual, great ball skills. I think that if he doesn't find spots on linebacker, they're going to find a place to work him in at safety or just get him snaps. I just really think that Troy Dye is going to find the field sometime in the next year or 2. So like dynasty, he's a stash. Redraft, it's not worth going near until there's an injury. and that's what we got for linebackers.
Cool.
Good stuff. What do you think in the next show? What do you want to cover next?
I'm down to go safeties. I guess we'll probably bring up Kyle Duggar, who
Yeah,
Kyle Duggar.
Coach is a big fan.
Yeah, well, and also he's going to get the linebacker designation, so he might get safety and linebacker designation because he is a safety in college, but New England apparently wants to play him at linebacker, so that's super interesting. But yeah, I'm down to do safeties. Safeties was one of the last positions I evaluated, so very fresh in the memory.
Nice.
Cool.
Statement Games is a free-to-play social game with a different twist on fantasy sports. Enter contests based around your favorite sports and rank 10 prop bet statements competing in a DFS tournament style. Win your contest, get coins, then cash them in for real gift cards. Join Statement Games today via website or app store and get 60 coins free.
Johnny the Greek.
Alrighty. So this week's bet, I would not do at all, but I thought it would be a good conversation piece. Bovada right now has regular season sacks, individual players, and Chase Young is one of the ones listed on here. And if you guys remember the last show, me and Sean were talking about sack numbers for Chase Young, and what was the number we came up with?
I don't remember at all.
It was 8. And this is
8?
Over. Yeah, we said over or under 8. And this is the official Bovada line, over or under 8.5. So we were off by half a sack with Vegas, which is crazy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, season long, I don't think he gets over 8.5. I've kind of thought about this a little bit, and there's too much going on there. He's going to get rotated too much. I don't think he's going to play enough to make it happen. What do you guys think?
I don't think there's any way he gets rotated. He's immediately the best pass rusher on that defense.
Do you think he play? Well, I mean, so you think he's there every passing down? Period.
No, I don't think there's anybody that's there every passing play though. I think he's going to be there as much as Nick Bosa is though.
Okay, I could see that. I don't know. This feels really close. I would say under though. What do you guys think?
Under's the safe bet, but
yeah.
I'm going over.
Oh,
yeah, over is minus. Yeah, over is minus 130. So in under is even. So basically, Vegas is saying that under is the safe bet, and over, you're not winning as much.
Realistically, the safe bet is always to bet against rookies.
Yeah. Yep. But it was nice, I guess, that Washington did the safe thing. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't, just to cause chaos with the Lions and everything else, but
yeah.
Whatever.
Can we talk about real quick how the NFL put out like some front office guy, and I'm just imagining with this fucking smug ass look on his face being like, I have never seen the media be so off about their mock drafts. You remember seeing that where like a bunch of front office guys told the media like, you guys are so wrong about the draft this year, and like then the first round happens and I think the Raiders are the only person or the only team to take anybody crazy, and it's like everybody else was like, yeah, that makes sense, like even the Packers, who was like, yeah, that was a wild move, but also like I've seen that mocked, like it makes sense that like you would want to get your next quarterback after Rodgers. Like there was literally nothing wild that happened during this draft really, and the media or the front office is like, you guys don't even know what's coming, like it's gonna be wild, you guys are so stupid, you have no idea what you're looking at this year. And it's like, nah, I think we actually pegged it better this year than most years, to be honest.
It's probably a matter of not overthinking it.
That's exactly what it is, which is why the Lions had such a good draft. We didn't try and get cute with it. We're like, oh, that's a good player, let's draft him. As opposed to most years where it's like, all right, who's this long snapper that nobody's ever heard of that we can really get an edge on the football field with? Like, I talked to him and he's got a great personality. He's going to fit in. He's going to bring a lot to the football team. It's like, nah, dude, don't talk to these kids. Just like look at their films, see how good they are. If they're good, draft them. Go for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know Coach didn't have a good time on the live stream there. Yeah, with Ruggs, and then things just got weird quick with the Raiders.
Actually, I like Ruggs a ton. Ruggs was my pre-draft wide receiver 3, in terms of talent, anyway. And I think he's going to be a super good fit for that offense. To be totally honest, I don't know how it'll turn out for fantasy, but like where Ruggs excelled in college is not where people expect. And like in college, he was super good at taking those slants and then just destroying everybody after the catch with his speed and taking that to the house. And like everyone's worried that Derek Carr doesn't have the arm to get it down the field and all that. And it's like, yeah, maybe he doesn't. But like Henry Ruggs is still good at a lot of other things. And if you get the ball in his hands, he can take it to the house. And that's something Derek Carr hasn't had. Like Derek Carr completes so many of these like 6-yard passes. It's like, now imagine if all those 6-yard passes that he completed, if there was just like a random chance that they just house it on every play, you know?
Yeah, it's an element they haven't had in some time. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Cool. Alrighty. Well, with that, make sure you're following us on Twitter at IDP Guys. I'm at Nate Cheat. John is at OrangeMan3142, and Sean is at Lanny1925. Subscribe to the show. Go to idpguys.org. On the sidebar, you can get a link to Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, and an RSS feed for the podcatcher of your choice. While you're there, become a subscriber to the website. We have a lot of great data. We got a trade calculator. You can get access to our Slack channel with all the writers. And it equals out to about $1 a month. So join up there. Go to YouTube, Writer Digest Network on YouTube, and you'll get this show. There's the DFD show that Sean is a co-host for, Dynasty Football Digest. We're bringing on IDP Nation. There's just a lot of good content there to get your fantasy fix, and then come the actual season, we'll be doing live streams every Sunday morning for starts and sits. So definitely make sure you're subscribed to Writer Digest Network, REITER Digest Network.
It's not an episode.
What do you want?
It's not an episode unless Nate is leaking out of every orifice.
Yes. Also, if you're looking for a fantasy football t-shirt, go to myfantasyfootballshirt.com. We've got some great shirts up there for sale. Pod shirts from different podcasts that are grouped with us. And then if you need shirts like custom made for your league or your brand, hit us up, and we work and do a merchandise partnership. And then finally, make sure you get your copy of the draft guide that's coming out. Offense, IDP, get both of them. Make sure that you've pre-ordered, and you can do that at dynastyfootballdigest.com or idpguys.org. A lot of great guys. Kyle is part of that. Sean, you were part of that. We have Coach. He's managing, project managing that. We had him on last episode. Really looking forward to, first off, just being done with it and having it out there for everyone. And, man, I'm already starting my rookie drafts. We kicked one off, a couple of them off yesterday. Was it yesterday or today?
Probably got. It was last night, like late last night.
Yeah, I've already been referring to the information from the rookie guides to give myself a little bit of a edge on who I'm going to take. So it's worth it. We're gonna have that out very soon, so get in there, pre-order it so that you get it in your inbox immediately, and then if you get the paper copy, you'll have the digital copy and then a magazine showing up at your door. So with that, thanks guys for coming on. I don't know, we'll probably get into a 2-week schedule, I'm thinking here. Now that the draft is over, we'll go every other week until we hit the summer and start weekly.
Carol Baskins killed her husband.